Welcome back, dear viewer. It's time once again to question all you think you know, all you believe to be true. Time to open your mind to the strange and terrifying world that exists in the fabric and fringes of our very own. We're in a place where myth, rumor, and intrigue walk the delicate line between reality and fantasy. Yes, it's time for more lore, myths, and theories pertaining to those creatures and cryptids, those menaces and monsters that roam the wasteland hills. Today's program is brought to you by those wonderful deliverers of refreshing goodness, those fine folks of Nuka-Cola. Hey everyone, I'm kidding. Oh, how about the last part? We have no sponsor. Welcome once again to the Moonshadow Mystery channel. As always, I am your host, the leader of the Rainbow-Eyed Hive, Paladin of the Brotherhood of Steel, or Sentinel, depending on, which division you're talking to. The on again, off again, Rainbow-Eyed Bug Pony, Moonshadow Mystery, aka Paladin Simmons 99. And welcome to another exciting edition of Moonshadow Mystery Channel presents Lore, Myths, and Theories. I believe we have finally found all the resources that I thought were lost when my laptop started screwing up. Hopefully that is fixed. Hopefully that is resolved. If so, I will try and get this pieced together properly. If not, that's okay. You may be wondering, what are we doing here today? Since if I was smart, I did not give you a direct clue on the title card. And if I wasn't, well, then I kind of screwed that up, didn't I? Now let me get into the old base here and we can discuss it. Always remember to shut the door, it's a common courtesy. Won't be much need for the excavator today. Let me get my helmet off. I said helmet, I didn't mean... There we go, that's better. Let's have us a seat right here. At my desk. Okay, hold on, I can fix this. There we go. Let's get things situated here. Well, you have joined us today for Lore, Myths, and Theories of Fallout. And I hope today to present you with something interesting. As many of you who, like me, have stuck by Fallout 76 and have accepted that it is more canon than it is not canon, even if some people refuse to acknowledge it. Some things perhaps are less canon and are more in the realm of Easter eggs, little nods to Fallout fans from before. But hopefully today we will be able to get part of this looked at, acknowledged, etc. But what are we looking at today specifically? Well, there's a hint right there. Power armor. But I hear you tongue-tied. But I hear you going, Moonshadow, didn't you already cover power armor like a few different times now, actually? Well, yes. Yes, in fact I did. But this is a very particular type of power armor, and it is more and more important and special in the fact of exactly which type of power armor it is. Let us get off of our duff here, and we will proceed upstairs to the power armor station. I could have done it in here, but then that would ruin the dramatic effect, which I have ruined by, you know, mentioning that I potentially have ruined it. That's right, the recent wave of content in the Atom Shop for Fallout 76, as of this recording, which is on the 4th of August, so it's actually been a week or so now, a couple weeks, has been none other than the Liberty Prime Power Armor skin, which is applicable to every kind of power armor model currently in Fallout 76. It comes, of course, in two varieties, which I don't have the other variety built yet, so we'll actually have to go here into the Atomic Shop, which I wish had an actual in-world store, because that'd be cool. Although I know displaying everything would be a pain. I'm not denying that fact. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that, I was trying to look at it. Hit the wrong button. Liberty Prime. Liberty Prime. I can't do the Liberty Prime voice. Liberty Prime Power Armor skin. Democracy is not negotiable. Eradicate communism with the Liberty Prime Power Armor skin. The Power Armor skin will play new, fully voiced sound effects while equipped. And as you can see, it resembles Liberty Prime. Specifically, it resembles more the Fallout 3 Liberty Prime, which is very important for what I'm going to be talking about. But, just so we show the other one, Patriot Prime Power Armor skin. Democracy will never be defeated. Embrace democracy with the Patriot Prime Power Armor skin. The Power Armor skin will play new, fully voiced sound effects while equipped. Naturally, this is a 4th of July variant of the other one, but it is an important distinction here. And it already recalled, and that's okay. Many, ever since this has been released, have been calling out Fallout 76 as non-canon even more. Today I would like to present to you my reasons behind why Liberty Prime's Power Armor skin may in fact be canon. But to do that, we're going to have to talk a little bit about the canonical lore behind Liberty Prime. And for that, I'm going to have to actually leave the Appalachian wasteland and go somewhere else in order to continue this discussion. And so, just to be dramatic, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye to the wasteland. And yes, for those of you who've not been following me on DeviantArt, there might actually be a video I have to upload before this one. If I forgot to, then that's my bad. For those of you who ain't been following me on DA, yeah, we changed locations here a while back, and now we have got our Brotherhood Waste Station right here. There's our monochromatic pre-war flag, which is more in line with the Brotherhood's themes. And I'm going to stop recording here in 76 so I can continue recording perhaps in Microsoft Edge. So give me just a sec while we transition over. Alright, now here we are in our Microsoft Edge viewer, and we are currently on the fallout.fandom.com/wiki/liberty_prime, which used to be the Fallout Wikia page. I think they have since changed it, don't know why. And we are currently looking at Liberty Prime. Unfortunately, it's showing the picture of Liberty Prime Mark II, but there's a reason for this. Since Fallout fans are undeniably very obsessive, myself included, we can count most of this as being very much in line with lore. But let's take a look at Liberty Prime in general real quick. Liberty Prime is a unique U.S. Army robot, standing 40 feet, or for those of you who use the metric system, 12.19 meters, tall and is heavily armored. Coupled with this, its armament of a powerful eye laser and tactical nuclear bombs make it a combat asset. Liberty Prime was found and brought to working order by the Brotherhood of Steel. Total restoration was due to assistance of Dr. Madison Lee. Madison Lee, presenting The Waters of Life at the Jefferson Memorial in downtown Washington, D.C. Come on down. Sorry. Who solved Prime's power issues in 2277? After the destruction at Satellite Relay Station in the same year, it remained in disrepair for a decade, where it was then in the process of being restored to assist the Brotherhood of Steel in Boston. A little more detail here. Liberty Prime is a formidable combat robot currently in possession of the Brotherhood of Steel. Original intent was to liberate Anchorage, Alaska from the Red Chinese menace during the Sino-American War of 2072, the precursor to the Great War of 2077. Programmed to deliver a mixture of patriotic propaganda and incredible firepower to ensure victory. Although it could have been deployed, its combat subroutines were not online during the war. All it would be able to do is step on Chinese troops. According to a letter from Dr. Bloomfield to General Chase, which can be found in the Citadel Laboratory Terminal entries. I can verify that is indeed the truth because I transcribed those terminals. Oh dear God, I do not miss being a scribe. I do not miss being a knight either for that very fact. Do you have any idea how many entries is on those terminals to transcribe and back up to holodisk? A lot. Anyways, the Citadel Laboratory Computer Terminal, located directly in front of Liberty Prime, also reveals that the project was commissioned by General Constantine Chase as a joint effort between the U.S. Army, General Atomics International, and Robco Industries. However, problems with the power system caused major delays. These delays consumed so much time that Anchorage was ultimately liberated in a much longer and more costly battle using the United States Army's other secret weapon, the Westech T-51 Model B power armor. Roughly 2 centuries later, Liberty Prime was finally salvaged and brought into service by the Brotherhood of Steel after they discovered it in the basement of the destroyed Pentagon. This is not entirely true. That's actually the story you get if you don't get any of the DLC. If you get the DLC, specifically the pit, you get more information than that. The Brotherhood was able to modify Prime's targeting system to perceive Enclave forces and super mutants to be Chinese communists. Liberty Prime required a tremendous amount of energy to operate. The Brotherhood of Steel was unable to provide the necessary amount of power, even with advanced technology salvaged from inside the Pentagon. Eventually, with the aid of Dr. Lee, the Brotherhood of Steel solved the problem. Liberty Prime was the Brotherhood's trump card against the Enclave, and was revealed when it marched on Project Purity, where it was used to absolutely destroy the Enclave defenders entrenched there. For 2 weeks after, Liberty Prime helped the Brotherhood prevail in the war against the Enclave, but was destroyed by an OWB, Orbital Warhead Bombardment, at the Enclave-held Satellite Relay Station. Liberty Prime's remains were recovered by the Brotherhood of Steel, and, though it would take months or years, the Brotherhood set about rebuilding and upgrading it. Meanwhile, Rothschild immediately began work on rebuilding Prime, hoping to restore him to working condition. 10 years later, in 2287, project was still far from being completed. The Brotherhood lacked crucial components necessary for him to operate properly. When Elder Arthur Maxson realized that the Institute can be tracked down and confronted in the Commonwealth, Prime's components were loaded into the Pridwin and brought along for the campaign. A special gantry was constructed in the ruins of Boston Airport to assemble the war machine under Proctor Ingram's orders, as long as the Brotherhood would be able to find the missing parts. Now, the reason I mentioned the pit, and it is very much important because it ties into this, Liberty Prime was actually constructed in pieces in the pit. In addition to recovering many children while there, the Brotherhood of Steel recovered the final pieces of Liberty Prime, which were being modified or otherwise built in the pit prior to the Great War taking place. They drug those pieces to the Pentagon, where they found the primary components of Liberty Prime. Liberty Prime, being a Romco product, is actually the brainchild of none other than Robert House of Fallout New Vegas. And I'm trying to find the gallery here because it is important. If I can find the thing, I can't find the thing. I was hoping to show the photograph of Robert House with Liberty Prime. It did not. That is okay. I will simply open photographs in a new tab. Here we see Liberty Prime as we know him in Fallout 3. Now, I originally found it odd that the red star was on his shoulder, given that he was an anti-communist robot. However, as we know in Fallout 4, all military bases are marked with a circle marking and a star. This makes more sense. This is just the universal symbol of the Army in the Fallout universe. But as we can see here, compared to the power armor model we showed in Fallout 76, Liberty Prime features these Tesla coils on its shoulders and collarbone area. And I believe even the newer model they modified it a little bit, but it has the same features for the most part in the reworked model. This more than likely was just how it discharged excess energy or even made charging it easier. And this is how we discover Liberty Prime when we first enter into the Citadel. Isn't it a thing of beauty? It's a rhetorical question. The answer is yes. Yes, it is. It is a thing of freaking beauty. Now, we have to understand that Liberty Prime's primary problem was the fact that the CPU capabilities were not able to dually work Liberty Prime's mobility and communication functions, as well as its combat subroutines. Even though Robert House was as intelligent as he did not have the time or resources to devote to fixing this issue before the Anchorage campaign. This was partially because during that same time period, he was constructing his little safe house in none other than the Lucky 38 Casino as a backup. As well as preparing his Securitron army. Now, if I looked up Robert House, I could probably find the photograph I was wanting to show, but that is okay. But anyways, that's how come it took 200 plus years. It took a lot of time and research, and there was a good period of time between the events of the Brotherhood entering Pittsburgh and then reaching DC. So it's literally decades of work going into this thing, into just making it function. Didn't mean to do that. I actually meant to do this. There it is. That's the photo I wanted to see. He had it photographed at the feet of Liberty Prime, but it looked like that was still the early stages because as we see with the finished product, that was more than likely a mock-up of Liberty Prime. Because as we saw, what he was standing next to appeared to be the feet and ankle area, but we saw the pelvic area just barely above his head, whereas the finished Liberty Prime was significantly taller. So more than likely, that was a miniature prototype. Now you may be wondering, okay, that's cool and all, but where are you going with this? Well, before I explain why, let's take a look first. Because the official Bethesda version of the Liberty Prime power armor hold on here. It's signing me out. It's been a while since I've been on Mods. But the original version of the Liberty Prime power armor was developed not by Bethesda, but by modders. And I should be able to find it all right. Although Bethesda, I believe, did include a Liberty Prime personality matrix for their Sentinel AI and power armor companion in the shop for Fallout 4. Didn't know about the mini Liberty Prime automatron. That's silly. That's not what I'm looking for. I am looking for the Liberty Prime power armor. Okay, let me do a generic search here. Sorry, everyone. But I know I saw it because I actually downloaded it at some point. Matter of fact, if I had any way of showing it, but I don't think I ever got it fully working properly. But I downloaded it to my Nexus Mod Manager for Fallout 4. I was going to feature it, and it looks like they took it off. Well, hold on, let me try it, because sometimes they use weird naming parameters. Yeah, nope, they're not showing it. That's too bad, because the Fallout fandom actually developed it first. That's really too bad that I can't show you guys, because I would have loved to. Actually, give me just a sec. I'm going to turn this off real quick, and then we're going to check it out, and then I'll be able to cover it from there. Hold on. Alright, now we make the transition into Fallout 4. It's been a while since I've been on my primary original build in Fallout 4. But as you can see, we have dog meat and where's the third dog? There it is. say dog meeting the dog bots, as well as Patriot, the Nexus Mods AI Power Armor Companion, and Sentinel, the Creation Club AI Power Armor Companion. I don't remember what AI system I've got on Sentinel, but that's okay. Now you may be wondering, why are we here? Well, as it turns out, there is a Liberty Prime Power Armor mod. I was calling it the wrong thing. It's actually called the Liberty Power Armor. And it has three ways. We can craft it, we can console command it in, but that one's a bit of a hassle. Or we can go out here into the glowing sea to the Sentinel site, and we can actually find it inside the Sentinel site. Bear in mind, that's only if you have it installed, and convenient, I am level 111 from Vault 111. Woo! We're actually really close to the Sentinel site. Whoa, okay. Thought I was having the issue. I guess I am, because I kind of spawned further out than I thought I should have. We're actually really close to the Sentinel site. Not 76. Map. Awesome. Wasn't sure what weapon I had equipped. Woo! Alright. Now we're going to head to the Sentinel site, and we're going to see if we can find the Liberty Power Armor. Now, there's a lot of issue with the Liberty Prime Power Armor mod that people are having is the fact that there's no canonical explanation for it. And wow! Prepare for your final judgment. Haha. But yeah, a lack of explanation for the power armor, no story connected to it. Yeah, I can understand that. Even when it comes to Fallout 4, some of the best mods, and that includes Creation Club mods, are the ones that actually have a lore-telling story added in to help explain them. Those are some of my favorite ones to explore, some of my favorite ones to look at. I don't remember where the entrance to this place is. I was thinking there was a secondary one, but that's okay. I don't mind going through it again. Now, like we already discussed, Liberty Prime did not have the proper programming capacity and power capacity to operate both its standard operational procedures and its combative operational procedures. Now, what was readily available at the time was power armor. Power armor frames and various power armor types. Now, we know this to be true because the Garrahan Mining Corporation, as we learned in Fallout 76, uses the T-45 power armor as a standard starting place when they created their excavator series of power armors for mining purposes. Likewise, they did the same thing in the development of the ultrasight power armor. What do I mean by that? Ultracite is an incredibly rare mineral and metal that can be found throughout different places in Appalachia, or Appalachia as some people pronounce it. It's also extremely difficult and expensive to refine. This is actually the reason why the government, when approached to consider utilizing ultracite in the construction of vastly superior power armor construction, initially didn't want to do it. They felt the expense of doing so would not be justified. At the same time, however, and I've discussed this before, I actually have a theory out on this that is visible on my DeviantArt account. The Brotherhood of Steel in other games, which I know Todd Howard does not view Fallout Tactics or Fallout Brotherhood of Steel as being canon, but in the game Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, which was a PlayStation and Xbox exclusive, PlayStation 2 and Xbox exclusive, you use a power armor, which is strikingly similar to the ultracite power armor. And I know I just saw it, but we're going to hold on for a second. Now this is very important, because there's explanations all over for why certain things are found in some places, and then unexplainable why they're found in other places. This was the issue with the X-01 power armor worn by the Enclave on the West Coast, which was actually the secondary version of it, as that was the modified version, when we are introduced to the concept of an original model in Fallout 4. We're also able to craft the X-01 in its standard and prototype color patterns in Fallout 76. Mind we get the X-01 prototype plans by completing a lot of the Enclave storyline. This makes sense. The Enclave, which we do know canonically, cooperated with Vault-Tec. We know this because the Greenbrier bunker is in fact a Vault-Tec vault, but it is much more immaculate. It is very similar to the vault of John Caleb Bradburton, or rather John Caleb Bradburton's severed head in some respects. Ultimately, however, we know that Vault-Tec had access to a lot of West-Tec research, due in part to the fact that the forced evolutionary virus was found in at least one vault, Vault 87 in the Capital Wasteland. So the idea of these vaults, of so many different things having connection, is not out of the question. Now, getting on to the theory with the Liberty Prime power armor, and this version here is closer to looking at Liberty Prime point to point. We're going to... I forgot I cannot do that. Yeah, you can't pick up power armor in 4. I forgot about that. That's okay, we can pick up these pieces. I have more than enough carry capacity for that. You all know I cheated by now. Not a big deal. Unfortunately, we do have to get out of here in order to fast travel someplace where I can access a blank frame. Anyway, getting on with it. Like I said, what we do have an abundance of pre-war is power armored chassis. We do know they made in excess of T-45, so the idea of a private contractor such as Robert House, who had government contracts, modifying a model of power armor such as the T-45 or T-50, well, T-51, in order to make use of his still in development Liberty Prime concept is not that unreasonable. Fog crawler, fog crawler, fog crawlers, fog crawlers. Let's take care of these giant prawns, these mantis shrimp. Again, the idea of creatures from different regions actually traversing the wasteland and being viable and visible in other regions outside of where you encounter them was introduced by Nexus Mods. Now we're going to fast travel to the Boston airport. There's a reason for this. But anyway, Robert House getting power armor to modify just like Garahan Mining Corporation did, not that unreasonable, especially since Robert House is one of the wealthiest men in pre-war America. And again, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel uses a form of power armor almost identical to the Ultrasight power armor. Again, I have an expansion theory on that on my DeviantArt web account. I think I made an attempt to explain that further in one of my videos here. And then, of course, there's my theory regarding the X01 power armor, Fallout 3's X02 power armor, and the undocumented Midwestern Brotherhood power armor from Fallout Tactics Brotherhood of Steel, which you can see right here on this Brotherhood Star Paladin. At least one version you can. I've got theories all over the place on this. And here we see Liberty Prime Mark II stomping around happily. I originally had intended on completely just removing my base here. Issues came about that prevented it, so it's just left here abandoned for the most part, which is fine. Hey! What's the matter with you? I think I actually requisitioned the frame over here already. I may not have, but I'm pretty sure I did. We may end up having to go to my... I did. That's okay. Spectacle Island is a hop, skip, and a jump away. That's our... As some of my viewers may know, that is where I usually have my power armor stash located. Anyway, the idea of Robert House modifying a T-45 series, utilizing some of the blueprints from his Liberty Prime design, isn't unreasonable, especially since we looked at the photograph. And even though he was in front of Liberty Prime, if you look at the scale, Liberty Prime was significantly smaller when that photograph was taken. Which means between the painting being commissioned, and yes, I acknowledge I've been saying photograph, it's a painting, sorry about that. Anyway, between that being commissioned and literally just about anything else that could have happened, things changed when the firebenders attacked. Couldn't help it. I couldn't help myself. Anyway, since they couldn't figure out a way to make the combat systems and the motor functions and other subroutines work simultaneously, Liberty Prime basically was left to rust. However, we do know canonically in the Fallout franchise there is such a thing as virtual reality. We know this in two ways. In the main game, through Vault 112, the sister vault to Vault 111 in Fallout 3, controlled by Dr. Stanislaus Braun. Sanctuary Lane. Yeah, it's not a coincidence. And through Operation Anchorage DLC, through the military training simulation. Now that is advanced tech. The fact we also have artificial intelligences and robots helps that argument a little bit further. And again, I've been here before. This is where I've compared the X01, X02, there's the X03 Hellfire armor, the X01 and X02 with the Midwestern Brotherhood of Steel power armors, which is part of my theory. During the Enclave's transition from the West Coast to the East Coast, they had to make a stop in Chicago, blah, blah, blah. We're not getting into that again. So the idea isn't that far-fetched for me. We're going to bypass this area that showcases some of the Mojave power armors, because I think I have a spare frame up here that has a duplicate. Yeah, this that's right here. Yeah, I've got a lot of crap I gotta go sort through here. I'll reposition where this is at later. As we can see here, the Liberty Prime power armor here looks much more like the Fallout 3 version of Liberty Prime. And I don't think that that's a coincidence, because it's not that dissimilar from the version we get in Fallout 76 outright. Now here's where I'm getting at. How do you solve for computing power not being able to handle all the various things at once? That's simple. You add in the human factor. If computers alone aren't advanced enough to handle it, you have to find a way of connecting the motor functions of your machine to something more advanced on a biological level. Pound for pound, the human brain is the most advanced computer in existence. This has nothing to do with that myth about only using so much of your brain or anything like that. No. This has to do with pure fact. The human brain has more processing capability than what we give ourselves credit for. This is how come we're able to multitask. So how do you accommodate for that? Simple. And I should not have come outside because I needed a reference point and I don't have it by being outside. What if these Tesla coil inductors here were for more than just power transference? What if these were in fact relays? More specifically, communication relays. We know that Fallout as a whole takes a lot of inspiration from all over the place. Cartoons, movies, television, books, and yes, even anime. One anime in particular that's coming to mind repeatedly here is none other than one of my favorites of all time, Mobile Fighter G Gundam, where Gundam pilots wearing a specialized suit actually control the giant robot movement for movement. Receptors located on various parts of their body translate their physical movements into the mech. What if Robert House made in an effort to appease both his military contract as well as fulfill his desires to create the most advanced and powerful robot on Earth, made an effort at crafting a power armor modeled after Liberty Prime? This would have two effects. If successful, a single pilot would be in charge of powering Liberty Prime and controlling it. If it worked, he could potentially mass produce the Liberty Prime and send multiple ones to various fronts controlled by a single operator. Think of it in TF2 style. Liberty Prime would act as the heavy, while the other power armor models would act as the soldier. They would be supporting one another. If it didn't work, the Liberty Prime would essentially be converted, or could have been converted, into the first prototype Tesla-powered power armor. Now, from a psychological standpoint, power armor that looks like this, and compared to power armor that looks like this, has a drastically more alien, more cold feel to it. It looks just like something out of an old pre-war science fiction film come to life. And since it still verbally spouts the pre-war propaganda programmed into Liberty Prime itself, in a booming volume, I might add, that would still really shake up Chinese dissidents. Just take that into consideration for a moment. Even if you didn't get the singular Liberty Prime functioning, you could get multiples of these going, each spouting anti-communist rhetoric, and helping to notify the pilots of enemy forces that they perhaps don't see themselves. This would have the bonus of boosting morale of your troops, in addition to shaking up your enemy troops, while providing some of the most advanced protection they could possibly have. And again, if it worked, then Liberty Prime would be fully functional and controlled by a single operative. Now, the downside of this is that operative would have to be placed in some manner so that they wouldn't be able to just be wandering around blindly while Liberty Prime's visual receptors were transmitting into the helmet. So odds are a power armor station like this one would be attached to it in order to keep it in place while the pilot itself moved. Which isn't that hard to believe, because the same thing, again, happened in the Mobile Fighter G Gundam series. Now, what about the other one, Patriot Prime? Well, think about it. If Liberty Prime is your greatest weapon against the communists, wouldn't you want the public to get behind the idea? What better way to do that than to create a red, white, and blue themed Patriot Prime to put on display in things like a 4th of July parade, Veterans Day parade, anything of that line, in order to show them exactly what's going to be fighting for them. If all they see is the small scale version, then it's a novelty, but it's a novelty they can get behind. Something that's inspiring them. And since they were trying to get more people to enlist in the armed forces to join the fight against the Communist Chinese, which was very difficult at the time due to all the strife going on in the field, well, in the home front, not the field, because of all the food rationing, all the riots going on, all that stuff. Having something like the Patriot Prime walking around meeting and greeting citizens, helping to spread hatred toward the Chinese communist menace. It makes sense. That's old school propaganda marketing. It's been said that General MacArthur would, during the Korean War, would actually drop hollow shelled bombs filled with propaganda leaflets. Into Korea in order to spread propaganda to scare them into trying to surrender. Did it work? I don't think so. Was it an idea worth trying? I'd say yes. Yes, I would. But again, we got a little bit of a difference here now. Why? Well, again, modders versus Bethesda. Bethesda wanted a style that would go well with any of them, so they built parts that could be attached to any power armor type in order to create the look, and it matched regardless of which power armor you put it on. Not a big deal. Let me save this really quickly, because it's been forever, and if I come back in here onto this, I want to know that I've got it there now. Now, let's stop recording so I can transition back into Fallout 76, and we can pick up from there. As I said, everyone, it's not that unreasonable to think that Robert House would have crafted a Liberty Prime power armor as a promotional or even a propaganda tool to help push forward on the public the idea of getting behind the giant automaton known as the Liberty Prime. In a similar way, West Tech permitted John Caleb Bradburton to, at the very least, lease an X01. Whoa! To very least lease an X01 prototype power armor for Nuka World as part of their agreement for the Nuka-Cola Quantum project under the codename Project Cobalt. This helped to sell not only the idea of purchasing more Nuka-Cola products, but supporting the war effort and their recently unveiled X01 prototype.
I am Liberty Prime.
Ah, dang it. I'm having an issue today, ain't I? Where is it? Where's it at? 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 No, 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 no. Don't you dare say I lost it. Darn it. Ah, I'm having issues today. Now, the X01 was put on public display. It was more than likely still being worked on at the time. Again, Enclave bunkers such as the White Spring or Greenbrier bunker had a lot of these prototypes. As a matter of fact, if you get far enough along and become general of the Enclave, when you enter into the Enclave's bunker area for the high-ranking officers, behind the quartermaster's desk, you see a ton of X01 in gleaming silver, well, gleaming chrome. So it's not that entirely unreasonable. Now, we have to bear in mind that the government was working in conjunction with John and Caleb Bradburton to develop Quantum as on a civilian level, which means it was also being looked into for a military level, i.e. the quantum grenades. as we know, strontium is the radioactive element utilized in the creation of Nuka-Cola Quantum. And Nuka-Cola Quantum is a key component of quantum grenades in Fallout 3, which you can also find here in Fallout 76. The government was clearly wanting to go beyond uranium and plutonium. The best way to do that is to look into alternative radioactive isotopes. If quantum could be utilized on a civilian level, then a wealthy entrepreneur like John Caleb Bradburton would be willing to foot the bill for getting the resource in exchange for a certain percentage of what is mined for his civilian application. As we know, quantum Nuka-Cola armor has an eerie, iridescent glow, which makes it look very alien. If an armor like that was to reach the front lines, not only would it be boasting capitalism, which in the face of communist China would have been a huge insult, but it would also be extremely intimidating to Chinese troops. Looks like somebody may have already come through here. I was hoping to show off some of Liberty Prime. Someone already got the fusion core. That's the main reason I came here. I'm running low on fusion cores lately. I was actually hoping to trigger some enemies, but it is what it is. But as you can see, it's not that unreasonable to think about. There's enough strangely advanced yet retro technology in the Fallout universe that power armor used to control a giant robot, not that out of the question. Now, why it wouldn't have been pursued further? Well, it's very possible that they intended on pursuing the matter further, but the results were not as promising as they had hoped. Which may be why, in Fallout 3, the Brotherhood finds an incomplete Liberty Prime still waiting to be brought online. Now, we have no official story to confirm this as even being plausible. However, I feel it is the most likely and most reasonable theory to get behind in this particular instance. At least from my personal perspective. Man, looks like all the super mutants.
Stupid little man.
For those of you curious, I am currently utilizing the Brotherhood of Steel Recon Rifle. It is a plan you can unlock by completing some of the Brotherhood of Steel quests. It took me a minute to find it. I actually am very thankful I have it. I will most likely, when I have enough available resources, begin mass producing these to sell in my personal camp shop. So for any of you who are interested in checking that out, I do have a number of things for sale in my camp shop. A lot of my stuff tends to be themed around the Brotherhood of Steel. But that's not what we're here for.
Guts around my neck.
But as I said before, the plausibility of a canonical explanation for the Liberty Prime power armor is there. And like I said, Patriot Prime, the red, white, and blue variant could have actually been constructed almost as a mock scale model using a T45, T51, or T60, which itself is a T45 variant, or rather modified version, possibly for things like parades, which would explain why they have the personality matrix built into the helmet so that people seeing it can get familiarized with how Liberty Prime works and get a taste of how intimidating and inspiring the propaganda it spouts is. Thank you for joining me today as we explored through the various bits of Liberty Prime's history and the lore in the Fallout universe, as well as the explanations for why a Liberty Prime power armor might theoretically and plausibly exist within the confines of the Fallout universe without compromising the story in a negative way. I appreciate you all joining me for this new entry in lore, myths, and theories. I'm sorry it's been so long. My ability to produce content has, of course, been compromised due to not having the ability to edit them in the way that I used to. So it takes me a little bit more time to get content created and to try and get it up to the quality that you may be familiar with. That said, audio quality is still below where I would have liked it to be. At this time, hopefully we'll get that sorted out in the near future. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. If you liked today's video, show your love and support by high-fiving that like button down below. And if you didn't like it, that is okay. Applebuck that dislike button or frag it. Let me know in the comment section below why you did or did not like today's video. Feel free to add in any details I may have left out, as well as your own personal theories as to why the Liberty Prime power armor may or may not be able to be considered a potentially canon addition to the Fallout universe. I will do my very best to read and respond to as many comments as possible. Naturally, it's impossible to respond to all of them, but I will do my very best. Let me know in the comments down below not only what you thought of today's video, but of any ideas you may have or suggestions you may have for future content that you'd like me to try doing for the channel. As always, if you're a newcomer to the Moonshadow Mystery channel and are curious what else we have to offer, click my name above the video description down below. Uh-oh, gotta get away from the radio. I forgot to turn the radio off. But click my name above the video description below in order to head to the main channel page and see everything we have to offer. We do a lot more than just lore, myths, and theories, as well as more than just Let's Play videos, even though that does cover a large bulk of what we do. Reviews, reactions, impersonations, song covers, character-themed videos. So much that we have to offer. And so much we're willing to try. So if you have an idea for something we've not done, or a suggestion for a new entry into a segment we've done before, leave those suggestions in the comments below. I got a little tongue-tied again. Naturally, if you like what you see here on the channel and want to see more, tap that subscriber button. And don't forget to ring-a-ding-ding that notification bell icon so you can be kept in the loop when new content is made available. If I've got everything sorted and got all this how I want it, once again, let me know. Feel free to stay tuned to the end credits, or in case I didn't get everything fixed like I used to have it fixed, check the video description below for other ways you can be involved with us here on the channel. That means other ways that you can leave your mark on the Moonshadow Mystery channel and have your voice heard. That includes, but is not limited to, our Twitter feed, the official DeviantArt account, which I have referenced a few times, the Rainbow-Eyed Hive official group page on Facebook, and so much more. Be sure to let me know if you go to try and add me, how you came across it. Be sure to let me know you are interested in being a member of the Hive. Naturally, new subscribers, I will make a solid effort to try and acknowledge in future videos either in the opening credits or the end credits. Most definitely in the video description, if at all possible. Naturally, if you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so. I will do my very best to check in on that and take note of any patrons. Of course, if you have any ideas on how I can make Patreon more worthwhile for potential supporters, leave those comments down below or over on the Patreon page. I have ideas for potential merchandise in the future that you can view on the DeviantArt page. If you'd like to see any of those become official merchandise in the future, or if you have ideas that you'd like me to try for creating alternative templates, leave those suggestions either here or over on the DeviantArt page. And I'll be sure to consider joining up with something like Teespring in order to create merchandise. I don't have anything going with them yet, but I am always open to the idea if enough people want to see me go that route. But that's all the time we have for today, my brothers and sisters of steel. Have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and a great weekend ahead, depending on what we get around to seeing today's video. And as always, remember, don't go changing for anyone but yourselves. Hope to see you right back here, same Moonshadow time, same mystery channel, when we get out of the hay and into the fray with another exciting installment. And as always, dear viewers, be sure to stay tuned for more thrilling tales from the Wasteland Hills. We hope to see you next time. Bye-bye now.